Whoa! Bandai keeps coming out with more advanced Zeta kits, and I am not complaining. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kehaar II. This is, of course, once again a Premium Bandai kit in Bandai's line of Premium Bandai HGUC Advanced Zeta kits. Here, this is from Advanced Zeta Flag of Titans. This is the Gundam TR-6, Kehaar II. TR-6 indicating that this is based off of the Woundwort, so this is going to be another Woundwort variant like the HG II, for example, which we saw it's not that long ago. So it's in a pretty good sized box too. As you can see, it's definitely like big, thick HG box here. And of course, with it being a P-Bandai kit, there's not a lot to see much around on the outside of the box, so we'll just kind of skip that portion of this unboxing portion of this review video. So basically what you guys can see here is about all there is to see on the box. We do have an image of just a photograph of the Kehaar II, and it looks very cool. There's not a whole lot of Woundwort very visible in there under all the new parts. You can see the Woundwort's legs very easily, but everything else there is pretty well hidden under all the new parts you're going to add on to this. Very Asimov sort of looking in its design, and it does transform too into a very Asimov sort of looking transformation as well. So I'm not sure about the actual lineage of that. I'm sure there is probably some sort of relation between the two, between the Kehaar and now the Kehaar II in the Asimov. But like with all of these kind of similar kits, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of leftover parts as well, probably a lot of leftover parts from the Woundwort. But let's go ahead and get into it and see what we're going to have in the box here. But first, as always guys, big thank you to USA Gundam Store for sponsoring this review. Guys, if you want to check out all the stuff on USA Gundam Store, check the link down below. Not a ton of P-Bandai stuff available there, but anything cool that you find there on the site, you can use my coupon code ZakuAurelius10 to save 10% off. So check it out and see what you can find. Alright, let's check it out here. Inside here we've got 6 bags of runners and our instruction manual, which is once again going to be a P-Bandai style, non-color, just very simple instruction manual here, like the past few Advanced Zeta P-Bandai releases. So there's not going to be a whole lot to see here. Basically, we do have the color guide there, not actually in color, but you got the color there in text, and it's in Japanese and English if you want to match some of the colors. Like some of these Titans colors can be a little bit tricky to match if you don't get like the official Titans colors, but even those are not exactly quite right for these, I think. So like here, for example, the blue parts for the main body are 50% blue, 30% gray, and 20% red, so you can get an idea of like some of the mixtures for this. On the back side, we do also have our parts list here, and you can see we are going to have a handful of parts crossed off. Not a whole lot though, actually less than I was expecting. It looks like maybe you'll have about a dozen parts left over, which is not too bad actually. A bunch of polycaps left over, so it looks like this is not going to be using a whole lot of polycaps, really just a few of them. And it just goes through all of the construction. Like I said, I think you're going to be building up kind of a lot of Woundwort sort of parts on the inside. Looks like the arms are still pretty much Woundwort, and then the legs are pretty much all Woundwort, but then there's a bunch of other parts that are going to be quite different. And then it goes into how to transform it into the mobile armor mode. And then at the very back here, we do have a couple of photos of the kit just in black and white there, but that's just to show where the sticker markings are going to go on here, as this kit once again is coming with just sticker markings and no water slide decals. So here's a look at that sticker sheet, and as you can see, it's just a few Titans test team markings on there, and a couple like small and medium size in black and white, and then a couple of the Omeka logos there in white as well. And our foil sticker sheet here is looking very similar to past releases as well, so it's pretty standard. We got the eyes, the stickers here for the blade rifle, the one there for the V on the crotch, and a few cameras and things. We got our stand here in black, and our polycaps PC001 here in a dark brownish gray. Runner A1 here from the Woundwort is just in that dark Titans blue color, and then runner A2 is the other half of that with some more parts of the Woundwort here obviously, and then runner A3 is a copy of this portion of the A1 runner. Runner B1 is more parts from the Woundwort here in that dark purplish color for all the joints and everything, and that is continued on to runner B2 here as well with the hands up there also. And like with the A runner here, the B3 runner is just a copy of this lower portion here of the B1 runner like that. Now skipping all the way to runner XA1 here, this is a brand new runner specifically for this, so it's marked Kehaar II up here on the top, and this is in the darker blue color for some more of the new parts here obviously. And then runner XB1 is in the same dark purple as what we saw on the B runner with the Woundwort parts, but this is once again all new parts for this kit, so you got quite a lot there. And we do also have runner XB2, which is a copy of this portion of the runner here. And then usually our multicolor runner is first, but in this case it's last here for runner XC. This is once again a completely new runner, so you got a couple of red parts up there, some yellow across the bottom here, a couple more dark blue parts over here, and then some white parts there throughout the center as well. So looking very nice. Quite a lot of new parts there for all the new Kehaar II parts for this, so it's looking very exciting. I love all this Advanced Zeta stuff, so hopefully Bandai keeps making it. There was, of course, also, if you guys maybe knew or didn't know, there was like a 6-pack you could buy. Like, order is basically a 6-pack of this, and it didn't come in like any special box or anything. I think it was just delivered as 6 of these. And that just begs the question of if Bandai is going to be absolutely mad lad enough to actually produce an inlay which carries 6 of these as like a massive mobile armor. And so I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but in the meantime, let's just get the Kehaar II built up, see how it's looking, and then we'll just have to hope and dream from there for an inlay. But anyway, let me get this all built up. Alright, so all built up, here it is, and surprisingly it can actually stand up on its own. So those woundwort legs with the fold out parts there in the back do allow it to stand up. This is the kind of kit though, like with the many different versions of the woundwort, basically where it's just going to look a lot better like not standing up on an action base. And so it's cool that you have the action base included. I'm not going to really use that for the review portion of this video, but just remember that you do have that. I'm just going to use a regular action base with this, but definitely a mobile suit that looks better just in flying space poses. But if you did want it to stand up, it can do that. It's a little bit of a balancing act there, and I suppose if you really wanted, you could use that massive dong as a bit of a third leg there. Let's get into it and take a little bit of a closer look here at what we've got to work with the Kehaar II. First off, just for the accessories, we have this action base stand for it, and optional open hands aside from the holding hands that are currently on the kit now. And we've got 2 of the arm-mounted shields. The connections are opposite, so one goes on the left side, one goes on the right side. So you can see those are pretty nice. We're going to use these with the transformation as well. Got a couple of the stickers on there. Any of the stickers on top of any white pieces are going to look okay. On top of any dark color plastic, of course, not going to be looking all that great. And then the familiar composite shield here with the little fold-out camera on the top, which I always seem to have trouble folding out. There you go. And it's got a little foil sticker there for a little green camera on that. This one just works the same way as it has with previous versions of the woundwort, that just folds out and you can connect that onto the top of the arm. Or you would be able to if this didn't have some massive shoulder armor on it. You've also got stickers for the blade here in a slightly different color of purple. You can see there's like a little bit that darker color purple compared to the main navy blue color of the actual part there. And then we've got the parts to switch out here for that to change it into the claw form of that. And then our parts that we're going to use for parts forming this when we do the transformation of the suit. So you'll need a few of these little parts here. And you do have a handful of some other leftover parts from the woundwort, but nothing that's really useful with this. As for the kit itself, yeah, this massive dong piece is actually connected onto the front of the chest, but she is packing down here below as well. Most of the lower half of the body is pretty much the same as with previous versions of the woundwort. There's nothing really changed there. It's all kind of in the top half. This massive piece that attaches onto the front of the torso there. This massive piece which attaches onto the top of the head. So the head is there, just kind of covered up by this big chunk on the top of there. Got the new shoulder joints there, which will allow the arms to be stuck out farther away from the body. So you have space for these giant parts here on the top of the shoulders. Otherwise, the arms themselves are exactly as with the original woundwort kit, just as the connection piece between the body and the arms is new to accommodate for these new massive parts on there. And then this big part here is attached onto the back of this section here. So I said the lower body is all kind of the same, except for this one little piece in here, which is just the connection piece, like kind of between the center and this back skirt part is a little bit different, so that you can attach this part into there, because that's where this all attaches all into kind of the top of the back skirts section, sort of there like that. And so that just folds up and over the head like that. But speaking of folding things up, let me just go ahead and get this transformed so you guys can see how this looks as the space donut, as I've been hearing you guys refer to it. Here it is transformed after you take it all apart and then put it all back together like this, and I gotta say it is pretty goofy looking, but at the same time it's also kind of like really cute. I don't know, it definitely looks a lot more interesting than just the transformed woundwort. The transformed woundwort by itself is just kind of very odd looking, and it just doesn't really kind of look like anything, but this, at least this sort of looks like some sort of like flying saucer or UFO kind of thing. And then with the big fins at the top, that front part just separated into the two pieces like a couple of big fins or rabbit ears sort of at the top. It's very cute. I like it. And then like the big blade antenna on top of its head then folded back like that. Looks like it's like holding a knife in its mouth or something. I don't know. Very cool. But as far as transformations go, it's certainly not the worst one around. I think it's pretty interesting. But other than that, that's really not much else to say about this kit. It's another awesome HG Advanced Zeta kit. Very highly recommended if you're an Advanced Zeta fan and you're willing to spend a little bit of extra money for this, with it being another P-Bandai kit, unfortunately. But you know, other than that, I mean, these kits are great, but if you're not a huge fan of them, they're not like must-have kits that you gotta have in your collection, so they're not necessarily worth spending the extra money on them. If you're not really into them, you know, there's plenty of other things out there that are some cool kits as well. But I'm always thankful that Bandai keeps making really cool variants from the series, and there's still plenty more that they could make. So I'm always looking forward to seeing what else they come out with next. Now, fingers crossed it'll be something sooner than later, because I really like these. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as far as the pros and cons go, I mean, the articulation is pretty good. Details are quite nice on there. The color separation is pretty good. It's definitely missing some color apps, though. With the Advanced Zeta designs, though, they're kind of all missing color apps just because the designs have a lot of little tiny little color apps of yellow and bits everywhere and things like that. So definitely we'll have to do a little bit of masking and painting around some different areas to get it perfectly color accurate. But overall, I think it's another great HG from the line. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Again, thank you to USA Gundam Store for their support. Guys, check the link down in the video description to USA Gundam Store and use my coupon code there to save 10% off everything there. And as always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.